Hardies and Hardos.
We're here,
Hardies and Hardos. 22. Wow, finally, I don't have to worry about having it the wrong way. Let's go.
Either way. Either way for y'all. We got a good one today, huh?
Yes, we have a very good one today. I'm excited. I'm excited to get into it.
We're going to get in some heat, I think, on this one on a couple of these bad boys. So
we might.
Fun.
And per usual, I'll be right. Isn't that right,
Ooh, that's what I got to say about that one right there.
Before we dive into it, though, I do want to mention your boy, a.k.a. me, took another dub. Thank you, Hardies and Hardos out there, for voting for me more than you did for Spinny in terms of the worst trio of contracts. Yeah, that's going to be on my dubs list. Probably next week, I'm sure we'll do it again. So,
did you have a final tally or not?
No, because Instagram, by the way.
I know the Instagram tally. Do you know the Twitter tally?
Yeah, but do we know if that was the actual final tally?
I mean, that was the tally like 30 minutes before when I looked, so it wasn't.
All right. It was 10-8. It was 10-8 on Twitter.
For you?
Yeah.
So you won 28-19.
28-19, yeah.
28-19.
Oh, I won by 9. Let's go. It's that John Wall, I'm telling you. Everyone knew that was the worst.
Yeah, I feel like people said Gilbert Arenas that didn't realize that the man played 32 games for the Wizards after that. But it's okay. This man was bringing guns to the games right after that. Come on. I just got to sell my case just a little bit. But all right, let's get on to the news. The news.
You want to say the tennis news, don't you?
No, I don't want to say
Yeah, you do. You got to say it.
Oh, you mean that Rafa Nadal had a 7-inch abdominal tear and had to 7-millimeter abdominal tear and had to withdraw before the semifinal.
Classic.
Or do you mean Nick Kyrgios getting heckled and that fan getting kicked out and that's the reason he lost? Is that what you mean?
Oh,
is that what you're talking about? Or
learn to. You got to handle the fans, man. That's part of the game.
No, that was sarcasm. Kyrgios is the biggest head case. He might be the biggest head case in a single sport, like a single person sport I've ever watched or witnessed.
He was so livid about it.
He's always like that screaming. Though, and that's the reason he doesn't win. Is he literally can't get out of his own head. Absolutely crazy. Djokovic. The thing I'm trying to bury is Djokovic won Wimbledon, so that's
4th straight.
He would have lost to Rafa, but it's okay.
21st total.
He almost lost to Kyrgios, would have lost to Rafa. Also, Djokovic is not even going to be in the U.S. Open because he can't come into America. So, and Federer's basically retired, so Rafa's going to be the one that's going to win that one. Another U.S. Open title for Rafa.
Rafa won't be there either. He's still going to be recovering from that pussy injury he got.
Nah, he's back. He's back.
Whatever. We'll let you think that. What about the other news? What's his honestly, I don't even know his name, but the Blue Jays manager got fired today, and maybe a semi-surprising move. I guess record-wise it kind of makes sense, but
yeah, he had a completely 500 record in his time with the Blue Jays.
Right. And they're only 3-4 games over 500 right now? Something like that?
Yeah, 236 and 236 is his record with the Blue Jays. He started in 2019. And, they obviously have they're 4th in the AFC. They're 4th in the AL East, which obviously is lower than I think their expectations were. But at the same time, the AL East is ridiculous. But 46 and 42 is an undersell for Toronto.
Yeah, the roster they have, 100%.
Yeah, I do get that, but it seemed a little premature to me. But obviously, if you're going to do it before the season's over, you have to do it right now to give your manager a little bit of time to figure it all out. So if you were going to do it, now's the time. So I get that, but I was pretty surprised. Charlie Montoyo there.
That
got fired by the Blue Jays.
Yep. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who they replace him with. Have they announced already? Or are they just going internally?
Yeah, I didn't see an announcement, honestly. So I'm
I
guessing it's
would.
going to be internal, but
Yeah, I was gonna say during season moves are usually just in baseball, usually just internal. But
yeah, I'm sure that's what it will be. Also, y'all, we need Hardys and Hardos to come back and help us find a name for our beginning relevancy segment because the news, like, what are we? Just the most boring, awful podcasters of all time. Come up with something
yeah,
fun for us. I don't know.
yes,
Sometimes
please.
our creative juices don't flow, so and we want to do what you want to do. Make it something funny. Create us up. Um, Maybe we'll do one of those like Instagram things that you can reply to, and
That'd be
you
cool.
know what I'm talking
That'd be
about.
cool.
I don't know what those are called, but maybe we'll try to set that up this week so you can give us a name for our intro, the day in the life of sports news in the world segment.
Right. Well, moving on with this segment, I guess, if you want to call it.
He air quoted for all our audio listeners.
Yes, I'm glad you put that in. John Morant had an interview with Taylor Rooks. No surprise there. John, of course, had to respond to all that stuff. But yeah, he essentially just dove into the beef drama with the Golden State Warriors a little bit. And, you know, she obviously asked him other stuff, but he did say, so the Golden State response essentially was, if I just won a championship, I wouldn't be thinking about what somebody said months ago. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be thinking about this dude on this other team, what they said, which that's a good point. But at the same time, it's like, Ja, they clearly live in your head rent free. Like, am I the only one who thinks that, Spinny? Like, I get what he's saying. He's totally right with that point. But I
He's
mean,
right. He's right for normal people, but not for super successful athletes. Super
right.
successful athletes all hold insane grudges about things that like don't even matter. Like you see that all the time in like the Brady documentary and the Jordan documentary. Like all those guys just be taking anything and just like using it as motivation. I feel like Belichick did it with the Patriots for like 20 years. It's like they find absolutely any negative anything, and it just be like, oh, everyone's against us. And it's like, because when you have that mentality, it just like, I feel like it just amps you to a different level. And the greats really find a way to embrace that, especially great dynasties, which the Warriors have. So it's like, yes, Ja is right on what I would say normal life is like. But for superstar athletes and superstar dynasties, that's kind of how they make their living.
Facts. Major facts. The other thing he said was that he would cook MJ, is what he said. They were talking about the era or whatever, and he told Taylor that he would have loved to play in the '90s just because of like the pride they had for teams and the intensity they played with, all that. He thought he would have fit in really well, and then it eventually led to him saying that he would cook MJ 1-on-1. And you know,
he did
explained,
kind of laugh
yeah,
at like he talked about the mentality thing.
yeah, the mentality. It's like you got it. I mean, especially in basketball when there's so much one-on-one playmaking, you got to have that mentality that the guy in front of me is not going to beat me. I'm better than the dude in front of me. So that's essentially, and he even said that. He's like, I have that mentality for anybody. Like, just because it's Michael Jordan, I'm playing Michael Jordan. I'm not going to back down. I'm not going to be scared. I'm still going to be confident and think that I'm better than him. So again, I get that, I understand, but it's pretty obvious that he would not cook MJ.
Okay, again, to
Right?
what is the definition of cook? Okay, so like we're playing 1-on-1, Jordan and Ja. Jordan's probably winning like 11-5, 6. But
That's
like,
and that's MJ cooking him in my eyes.
yeah, but like
Cooking is like not close.
Ja's gonna like cook him sometimes. Like Ja's
Right.
gonna break his
Jaws
ankles and dunk on him. Like it's Ja. Like it's not
he's
like he
athletic enough
never.
to score, yeah.
Yeah, Ja be cooking him, but like Jordan's not gonna lose to Ja just on pure like. Jordan's arm wingspan is so much longer. He's at least 3 inches taller, and he's amazing on defense. And Ja is mid on defense, and he's 6'3". 3.
Yeah. So I feel like he meant that he would cook him, like actually beat him 1-on-1, but
Yeah.
I don't think so. But yeah, he would definitely cook him someplace for sure.
Yes. There'd definitely be some cooking going on, but yeah, he definitely wouldn't win. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, no chance.
I think
Well,
Jordan might be the best one-on-one player of all time, though.
it's tough. It's
It's
tough.
tough.
I mean,
When you start talking about bigs, right? I'm pretty much excluding bigs, I guess, because when you start
yeah,
talking
perimeter
about bigs,
players,
it's like, yeah, perimeter
especially one on
players,
one, they're just gonna, back you down.
literally.
I would say he's up there. Though, I mean, the obvious names: Kobe, MJ, and
And
then I think
KD,
you got to throw KD in there.
yeah,
And then
those
maybe
three.
if you want to stretch somebody, I feel like Kyrie Irving would just be a dog one on one.
Yeah. Kyrie Irving, it's hard because he doesn't have the defense. So,
Right.
like, if there's
He wouldn't be able to
any,
stop anybody.
like, he's cooking everybody 6'2" or under, I would pretty much say. But,
Right.
like, can he play? I don't know if he can play bigger defense on anyone else. But yeah, I think Kobe, Jordan, and Durant are your, like, three wing players of all time that I'd be really, really scared of one-on-one.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree there. Well, we might as well jump into our actual segments now. Our first one being, we're going to talk a little bit about Summer League, actually, and the standouts we've noticed so far, because there's a number of guys that are playing really well, some of which are surprising, some of which are not. And my first one would be Josh Christopher. This doesn't really surprise me because I've been like, pretty high on him from rookie year just because I drafted him in Dynasty. So obviously I'm going to root for him. But he didn't do anything really last year at all. He's on the Rockets. For those that don't know, he's a guard, 6'5" point guard, and out of Arizona State. And he's just been killing it in the summer league. So maybe he's got a threat to potentially get that starting point guard spot. I know it's probably going to be between him and Ty Washington, I imagine. So it'll be interesting to see who wins that out. But he's averaging 20 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists in the summer league so far, with his best game being 19 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. So yeah, Josh Christopher's really stepping up so far, and he's a name to watch going forward, especially with the Rockets clearly in rebuild mode.
And he can do stuff on the defensive end too in the NBA that really make him like
He's had a couple sick
playable.
blocks.
Yeah, he has some sick blocks. He steals. He makes those highlight plays situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
One guy I really looked at was Mac McClung. Mac McClung obviously had that 25, 12, and 6 game. That was pretty cool, where he like couldn't miss. But he's still in his 3 games averaging 12.5, 8.5, and 4.8. So essentially 12.5, 8.5, and 5 assists. So that's pretty good for a guy who didn't get on the floor much last year. Is essentially a dunker, but he was doing stuff. Obviously in the rebounding department and in transition, leading transition, that if he can, obviously it's summer league and the competition is not the same, but some of those flashes showed stuff that could be, 7th, 8th man off a bench in the NBA. So I think there's those level of possibilities maybe for him.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, that's what you want to see in summer league, the flashes that could translate to the actual NBA game. So he's been showing it. Obviously fast break's huge in the NBA. So you got to, as a point guard, you got to be able to lead your guys out there. And I agree with what you're saying, that he could maybe sneak in as like a 7th, 8th, 9th man somewhere, but it's not going to be with the Warriors, which is a summer league team he's been playing for, because obviously they just got too many guys. So
yeah, they're stacked.
Is what it is for him. But yeah, he's been playing really well. Another guy I've been noticing, Trendon Watford for the Trailblazers. He started going off a little bit at the end of the year last year when they started just playing all their young guys just because they're terrible.
Was he on the Wizards?
No, he was on the Blazers last year too.
Oh, okay. Oh, Gafford's who I'm thinking of. Sorry.
Yeah, Gafford. Yeah, that's what you're thinking of. But yeah, Trendon Watford, he's 6'8" forward, second-year player out of LSU, and he's averaging 12 points per game, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 1.5 steals, and a block in summer league. So those are solid all-around numbers. You definitely like seeing a 6'8" forward getting damn near 10 rebounds a game. That's impressive to be on the glass that much. His best game was 17-11 and with 5 assists versus the Pelicans. So yeah, I mean, another team that's they've made moves this offseason that show that they're trying to compete and make the playoffs. But he's a guy that might actually get some minutes this year coming off the bench for the Blazers.
Yeah, I like that one. I'm going another first round pick from this year, Tar Eason. He had a 22-10 game last game. That was pretty. Who did they play? Do you have that down? Shoot, I didn't write that down,
I
but
forget, honestly.
he played well. Obviously, it was not. He was scoring down low with high efficiency. Obviously, again, summer league, but he leads the whole summer league in rebounds. That's something pretty impressive. And I think he could be getting rotational minutes.
He's only like 6'8" too, isn't he?
I want to say 6'9", but yeah, he's not. He's not huge either. That's a little bit of the worry. Obviously, is his outside shooting's not great, and he's undersized, so that's a little bit of a worry. Undersized as far as height, obviously he gets after it in the weight room. So, but the rebounding thing is huge. Like if you can be an undersized rebounder, you're getting minutes. You know, you're Brandon Clark, or I mean, I see that type of role for him for sure, and maybe better essentially, but I feel like that type of role is a high likelihood for him. So that's pretty cool. I think that's what you want with a later first round pick, right? Is someone who can at least be in the rotation.
Yeah, absolutely. I do find it funny though that you said he wasn't going to be good. I do remember that.
I did say that.
So obviously summer league, but I mean, you guys are going to hear us say that a lot during this summer.
Yeah,
we're not trying to overhype these guys, but we want to give them the respect they deserve because these are guys that
watch.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. The guys get after it. They're absolutely competing their asses off, and these are also guys that you may see and start to know more about during the upcoming season. So that's why we're just throwing them out there.
Yeah, and obviously, like I think it's something like 65% of the guys playing in summer league don't ever play in the NBA. So we understand that like the competition level is not the same, but it's as close. It's as close as you like. It's the guys that are right there. So it's like you know. There's some bad
they don't make the NBA. They're going to the G League. Like they're there. They're close.
Yeah, exactly.
Cam Thomas is my next guy I want to shout out. I think this guy could. I've been high on him from the get-go. I loved him at LSU. Just terrific scorer. I thought for sure his game translates to the NBA. Obviously, last year, didn't see much time being on the Nets. But this year, this is a real name to watch. If KD and Kyrie get moved, I would not be shocked if he's starting day one.
Because he played some minutes on the Nets
that
were a little bit vital and involved.
Yeah.
He went on a stretch there mid-season where he was banging some stuff. So
yeah, another guard out at LSU. For those that don't know, he had 31 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists versus the Bucks a couple days ago, averaging 29, 5, and 3 so far in the summer league. So yeah, just the guy can just get buckets, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do if those guys do in fact get moved, because his role is going to be increased given that they're going to be straight rebuild nation there. One other thing I do want to mention about him is last year he was Summer League co-MVP. So he was balling out last year in Summer League even too. So like it's clear this guy's ready to go in the NBA. He wants his moment. And one other thing, did you see his responses to the interview question, Spinny, about Steve Nash?
No, I didn't.
Oh man. He rolled his eyes a couple times. He's clearly not a fan about Steve Nash, because they asked about some coaching things that Steve Nash apparently said about Cam Thomas, and Cam just rolled his eyes like just pissed. So I mean, this is not the first time that we've heard about Steve Nash kind of being a little questionable as a coach. So obviously we have no idea what that situation is between those two, but yeah, that's never good to see that.
And like no coaching experience, right? Like Jason Kidd wasn't a good coach early in his career. He got fired in Milwaukee. Where was his other job before the Mavs? He had another job too.
He was. There might be another one, but he was definitely Lakers' assistant.
Yeah, he was a Lakers assistant, but he had another job before that he didn't do well in. And the Mavs is the third job, and now it's like everyone's kind of like, oh, Jason Kidd's a good coach. And Jason Kidd had assistant experience before his first head coaching experience. So Steve Nash, essentially no coaching experience, going right to be a head coach. Like there's going to be some sketchy stuff going on. Like he's not going to know all the time what's going on. And so, you never know. He could still be a good coach in the future, but obviously not the best personality, I think, for a good young coach. I think Nash is maybe too much of a player's coach to to be a good young coach. If you've noticed around the NBA, a lot of the young coaches that break in and are good right away are the more stern, like yell at you type guys, like Spoelstra or Nurse or Udoka, guys like that are like maybe not yell at you, but they're not taking any shit. Like it's like this is how it is. This is how my culture is. And those are the guys I think that when they're younger succeed, and it's harder when you're more of a let it be type of coach.
Facts. Do you have any other guys to shout out?
My last shout out is Chet. Chet's been lit. There's been some awesome blocks, like that big old dude that was backing him down and scored a couple times, and then he came down and smashed it in his face. And I don't know, I love Chet's personality in the NBA too. It's just like he's gonna get bullied sometimes this year, but he's gonna have some really cool blocks, especially when we get Giddey and Gilgeous-Alexander. Like, it's going to be fun. Oklahoma City, like, if you're an NBA League Pass guy, Oklahoma City is going to be one of those teams this year that's going to be awesome to watch, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree there. I do have two other guys I'm going to shout out quick. Let's start with Marko Simonovic. You probably never even heard that name, huh, Spinny?
No, I have not.
I didn't either until I did some research and looked up guys that have been balling out, and this man's been balling out for the Bulls. Maybe a little backup for Vucevic in this guy's potential. I think he's 6'11" center out of Montenegro. This is second year. I believe he spent the whole year in the G League. I'm not really sure last year, but versus the Mavs, he had 27 points, 13 rebounds, and 3 blocks. Not only did he put up that impressive stat line, he had the game-tying dunk at the end of the fourth quarter, and he made the game-winning free throw in overtime. So he was huge down the stretch of the game as well, averaging 14, 10, 2 assists, and 2 blocks in Summer League so far. So, yeah, this guy's balling out, and he might snag a roster spot on the Bulls. So that'd be interesting to see. The last guy I want to mention is just our guy, our boy. He's proven to maybe be a hardcore steal, and that's Josh Minot, 6'8" forward out of Memphis. Spinny has obviously been really high on him since our very first mock draft, however many episodes ago. And
I think I had him in the top 15.
You did.
Yeah.
And I mean, versus Nuggets, he had 22, 10, and 3. He 15 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 blocks per game so far in Summer League. So just an athletic freak, pretty raw in terms of skill.
Super raw.
But this is a guy that 3-4 years from now, he could maybe be an absolute dude for us. Like I'm starting to get more and more confident the more and more I watch him play.
Good at defense. His shooting obviously has a ways to go, but we got some highlight transition plays, blocks, steals. He kind of does it all. He didn't get a lot of time to play at Memphis, so obviously that's why he dropped, I think, because it wasn't a ton of seeing him. And obviously the shot's a big worry, but if that can come around a bit, he's got some upside.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, you have no one else you want to shout out? Otherwise, we'll just stop That's it. That was our little Summer League recap, shout outs for some guys. Just be on the lookout. That's all we're trying to say with this segment, that these guys might become the next real deal. You never know. You got to start somewhere in the league, you know.
Summer League be fun, so we got to talk about it a bit. Gets me out of my baseball everyday grind in the summer.
I just love how into it and intense they play. Like, these guys are fighting for their career. You know, it's awesome to see, honestly.
Oh, also, speaking of midseason baseball, before we transition, Twins walked it off today. I watched it live. That was a pretty sick one. Twins and Brewers was the YouTube TV game of the week that they always have. So that was pretty lit. And, Jose Miranda hit a nice 3-run little ding shot off Hader to win the game in the bottom of the ninth.
Let's go.
So that was pretty sick. Honestly, Devin Williams been looking better than Josh Hader. Look at it right now. Devin Williams hasn't gave up a run in 23 and a half innings as of right now. His changeup
is ridiculously dirty. Like,
dude, he struck out Buxton today, and it literally cut from like outside the zone, like on the far side all the way back and ended below inside corner. It's like, what?
I believe it because every time I make a league in the show, I make sure I draft that dude. I want him on my team in my bullpen because his changeup is dirty. Some dirty stuff he's got.
All right. Well, sorry, I just had to get the Twins in the show. So
no, that's a perfect transition because our next segment we're actually going to talk fantasy baseball. Believe it or not, we never really have talked fantasy baseball on this podcast, and it's definitely something Spinny and I have done for what? How many years have we had my league? 4 or 5 years already, for sure.
Yeah.
So we're pretty into, if you know Spinny and I, you know that we're obsessed with fantasy sports. Doesn't matter if it's football, basketball, or baseball. So we're always playing.
I was actually, this will be published tomorrow morning, so it won't be a surprise then. So, but all my baseball listeners just know I made a trade right before this podcast, and you'll find out about it tomorrow if you're in my league. But it is a sick one. We love it. We love what's going on now. Bus hates it, and he's going to try to make rules against me, just like he always does. But it's a good one. So
just know,
I'll tell you next week.
Yeah.
I'll tell all the Hardos and the Hardies next week so they can judge and see if I won. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to win this one.
And I'll roast you next week then too.
Sick.
That's acceptable. So, before we jump. How we're going to do this, we're just going to talk a couple guys that we think are going to fall off fantasy-wise and guys that will turn it around. Before we do that, though, I just want to name some MVPs of the season thus far. So, Ohtani, given obviously since he pitches and bats, is by far the MVP so far. He's got 492 points, which is at least 100 more than second. In terms of batters, though, our two leading batters from the divisions, Spinny. You have a guess?
Is one of them on my team?
Yes.
Okay, so it's Jose Ramirez for the AL.
Jose Ramirez, 309 points, and
woo!
NL.
Ooh, NL. We're just gonna say Goldschmidt.
Paul Goldschmidt, 294.
Let's go.
Points. 15 points behind Jose Ramirez. And then for pitchers, you probably know the AL and NL pitchers. Points leaders, I'm sure.
McClanahan and Alcantara, I would say.
Yeah. Alcantara's got 388 points already, and McClanahan's got 379. So, yeah. Those are our fantasy MVPs so far. Ohtani, Ramirez, Goldie, Alcantara, and McClanahan.
Have we actually told the Alcantara story on this, or have we just
we're talking fantasy?
I feel like the way he's balling out, I just have to take. I can't believe this hasn't been my big L segment either. This might be one of the biggest fantasy L's of all time. My question is, do you remember the specific trade? Bus has Sandy Alcantara in our league, and I traded him to him 2 years ago for Trent Gresham.
Yep, Trent Gresham, JT Brubaker, and Kenley Jansen.
Woo!
Spinny had 0 outfielders. He was convinced Grisham was going to be a good upgrade. Had no relief pitchers. Obviously, Kenley Jansen's a solid.
Jansen was good that year, actually, at the end of the year.
And then JT Brubaker, some random dude I just picked up from free agency and instantly traded to Spinny. Oh, and get this. The worst part of the trade. There's actually two. One.
This is the worst part.
One, it's a keeper leaving. Alcantara is a 21st round keeper. And so, wow, I've been loving my life there. And two, probably the worst part of the trade is that he had none of those 3 players on his team at the end of the season. He dropped Grisham, dropped Brubaker, and traded Jansen back to me. You can't make this stuff up.
You literally can. It was one of the biggest L's. It's the biggest L I've ever taken in any fantasy league, any sport, for sure. Traded a guy who's going to be a top 10 pitcher for the next, 10 years. So that's really, really fun for me. And Bus is going to get him in the late to mid rounds for the next 5. So that's always nice.
Going to get his entire prime on my team. All because of you, Spinny. Shout out to
face palms. Major face palms for me. All right. Let's get into our list a bit.
Turnarounds, huh?
Yeah.
Jump with turnarounds. I'm gonna first start with Max Muncy. Right now, he's sitting at position rank 20 It's obviously terrible for him given his last couple of years. I think he's going to turn around. Maybe not, obviously, given how shitty he started. He's not going to, end top 10 in points or anything crazy like that. But this stat line is atrocious and something I can't picture Max Muncy continuing. 162 batting average, 8 home runs, 26 RBIs, only a 310 slugging, and a 622 OPS. Just gross stat.
What was his batting average?
162.
Oh.
Yeah. And in the last 3 full seasons he's played, I think 2 years ago, he was dealing with injuries, and it was that COVID only 60 game season anyway, so I didn't even count that. Last 3 full seasons, he's had at least 35 home runs and 79 RBIs. So he's literally on pace for less than 20 home runs right now. His pace is ridiculously bad, but this is just an obvious guy you assume will turn it around based on what he's done in the past. His team, he's on one of the best teams in the league. So that's great for fantasy outlook. He's always got the potential for RBIs and runs. And so, yeah, I think he's one of the biggest names that came to my mind when I'm thinking fantasy guys that are going to turn it around. He's eligible 4 different places. I guess most leagues don't have a DH spot, so technically 3: second base, first base, third base. So that obviously helps as well. You always love the dual eligibility guys. So Max Muncy would be my first guy I think will turn around.
My big turnaround obviously has some self-interest because I picked him to win the Cy Young Award, but Brandon Woodruff is gonna turn it around here. And he has been doing better as of late, but he's still his WHIP is down to 1.14, which is getting towards where you really want it for him. ERA is still at over 4.01. Not exactly the best, but he only has 186 fantasy points, which for Woodruff is about 100 less than I would have wanted at this point in the season. But he's been coming up lately.
Injury, yeah.
I believe you were saying, I got it right here too. Last 3 starts, 27, 25, and 17 in our fantasy format. 10 Ks, 8 Ks, 9 Ks, 5, 6, 6 innings pitched, 1, 0, 3 earned runs. So 3 pretty good starts here from Woodruff. And even in his last 6 or 7 starts, 6 of his last 8 starts have been at least 17 points. So
and those last 3 starts were fresh off the injury he had too.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
He's finally starting to get his innings pitched up there and find his groove, which is expected. This is expected from pitchers that don't have many innings pitched so far.
Yeah, and obviously he started on June 28th, and his last start before that was May 27th, so he missed a whole month with his injury. So,
yeah, all those Ks you were talking about, that's 20. I written down here 27 Ks and 17 innings. That is amazing. That's amazing.
That's the Brandon Woodruff you're looking for right there.
Yeah, right now I have it written down here that he's sitting at SP 57, 57th ranked pitcher. What do you think? Which would be SP6. That's obviously not even remotely close to what you draft Woodruff at. What do you think his ceiling is here? What do you think he can climb back up to?
I got top 30. I'm gonna say SP 25 to 30. I think that's where he goes.
So SP3 probably. You think?
Yeah.
That's still quality given the injury and terrible start. So
especially if you're getting all those good starts down the stretch, that's what you're looking for in fantasy.
Yeah, when you need it the most. Yeah.
Yeah, once we get through the long haul of the season here.
Well, Spinny, I absolutely hope you're freaking right because he's on my fantasy team, so he better freaking turn that shit around, and I will love it. Another guy on my list, who I think is going to turn it around, Jonathan India. He was on my fantasy team. I shipped him off earlier this year, but he's only 47th ranked second base. That's not even close to what you expected, but again, on and off the IL basically all year. He's only played 35 games. So this is a guy that still just needs more reps, more at-bats, and I think he'll be able to turn it around. He only is batting .215 with 3 home runs and 12 RBIs. Get this, Spinny. He has got a .269 on-base percentage. That is some sort of bad. Only a .580 OPS. Just absolutely gross numbers. But this is a guy that won Rookie of the Year last year.
True.
He's on a shitty team, so that's the main worry in terms of fantasy wise. But he was a top 5 second baseman last year in fantasy and on the shitty Reds too. So it's like there's no reason I don't see why he can't turn this around and become a relevant fantasy player. I know he's sitting in the free agency in a lot of leagues. So this is a guy that, yeah, I mean, he had, what did he have last year? 21 home runs and 69 RBIs his rookie year. So, yeah, I expect some turnaround and I expect him to start producing in terms of fantasy again for sure.
I like that one. My second turnaround is already kind of on his start of his turnaround, so it's not a huge gap here, but it's Juan Soto. Obviously, this man's batting average was what, 214 at its lowest or 205? He was in the very low 200s.
It was what, our MLB update, what was that, 3 episodes ago?
Yeah.
I put him as my biggest disappointment, and yeah, he had 214 at that moment.
Yeah, and now he's at 243. So obviously a big come up here in the last little bit, up to 17 home runs. He has 250 points, so he's been coming along here in the last few games. But yeah, obviously this guy has MVP level talent, so it's not a huge thing to say he's going to make the comeback in fantasy. But he lost a lot of teams some early fantasy games in this season by how he's played.
He lost me games for sure. The chosen one. I even said that a couple weeks ago. I was like, I'm chosen one, and I'm getting dubbed out here by Juan Soto. No, I do want to give him credit though. Like you said, he already has 250 fantasy points, which is good for third for outfielders. So like, I'm sitting here complaining about how ass he's been, but in reality, he's still scoring fantasy points. He's still getting the job done, and it's crazy how much better he is to get. So. Yeah, I completely agree with you there. His last 15 games, 409 batting average, 3 home runs, 6 RBIs, 16 walks, at least 1 walk a game, which makes his on-base percentage 567. So he's getting on base last 15 games, half his at-bats, which
he's not going to come up.
If you play fantasy baseball, you know that total bases are points. Every base is a point. So guys like Juan Soto that have a shit ton of walks are so valuable in fantasy because they're getting you all these bases at least.
Yeah.
So, I mean, think about it. You get a walk, you're on first base. There's a single, you get to third on it. That's 4 points. 1 for the walk, and then the bases, 3 bases. Yeah. That's 4 points already right there. So it's awesome to have a guy like that. It's crazy though that his on base percentage is almost 400. It's 398. So, like, again, we're so shocked that he's playing so bad, but, like, basically on base 4 out of 10 times, that's still pretty damn good.
Still pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's probably it. I don't really have anybody else on my list for turnarounds. Do you?
No, I do not.
All right, let's jump into some guys that we're going to think fall off. Spinny, what's one name that comes to your mind?
So I actually had a different opinion on this guy coming in, but now I'm going to change my mind, and that's Santiago Espinal. He obviously almost made the All-Star game, and he had some big upside in points earlier in the season, but his last little bit and this next bit I think is going to be kind of sketchy for him. He's hitting 271, 6 home runs, 37 RBIs, 170 fantasy points. Obviously, this is a second baseman, right? So your fantasy production is going to be slightly lower position-wise than other positions. But he was a nice later round pick that has been balling out this year. He was a free agent ad in our league early in the season that has played pretty good for his position. But I think by the end of the year could end up cuttable. And he's already down to 1.9. He was as high as 2.8 earlier in this season. So
he's down to 1.9 points per game already?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not very good.
I think this is could be a cuttable player by the end of the fantasy season.
Yeah, I like that one. I definitely think he's going to start falling off for sure. Big name that comes to my mind is Brandon Drury for the Cincinnati Reds. Plays a lot of different positions, but mainly has been playing third base for them. He's the 8th, as of right now, the 8th ranked third baseman. I would be completely shocked if he's top 10. Maybe even top 15. I don't know if I want to take it that far, but I would be so shocked if he isn't top 10 by the end of the year. I definitely expect a fall off. His stat line right now: 277 average, 18 home runs, 50 RBIs. That's amazing, right? That's definitely like you want that on your team for sure. But this is where the concern comes in. This is his 8th year in the league, big league, right? Listen
Yep.
to this. Out of 8 years, this is already at this point today the 4th most games he's ever played. This is the
Wow.
most home runs he's ever hit in a season.
Dang.
The most home runs. The previous high was 17. So he's already beaten his home run, 3rd in RBIs out of his 8 years, 2nd in batting average, and 1st in on base percentage. So this dude's having a by far career year that doesn't make any sense compared to his previous years. So that's just why I think he's going to fall off. And then I know I said Indy will turn it around, but the Reds are terrible. You obviously don't like terrible teams for fantasy because then
No.
they're not on base as much. There's not RBIs or run chances. So yeah, that was a name that really stood out to me.
I like that one. For me, my last what are we on here? Turnaround? No, we're on fall off. Sorry, sheesh. Keep it straight here in my head going on. But I went with Ty France here for my last fall off. He's averaging 2.5 points per game in our scoring. 10 home runs, 45 RBI. Still hitting 306, but only has 185 points. Obviously, this is the best season Ty France has had of his career, and it's definitely an outlier season, and he's still only at the 2.5 range. And obviously, Seattle's not been that great. And so, again, I think by the end of the year, honestly, Ty France could be a cuttable guy, which is crazy for a guy that was averaging like 3.1 at one point and owned in 99% of leagues. So he might not fall off that much, but he's already down to the 15th ranked player at his position. So, and 2.5 a game is not crazy. He gets down to the 2.2, 2.3 range. He's a cuttable player. So,
and why that's happening is his strikeout rate. Strikes out a good amount of times. In the last 15 games, he has a 250 strikeout rate. So, essentially, that's not very good at all. So, every 1 out of 4 at bats, he's striking out. 211 batting average for him, too. I had him written down as well. 211 batting average, 262 on base percentage in his last 15. So, yeah, he's starting to fall off already. We're seeing it. So, yeah, that's a good prediction there by you. The last guy I want to talk about is Taylor Ward. This is another guy similar to Brandon Jury. He's never done this stuff in his career, so I just don't have faith for him to keep it up. He is I couldn't find his rank actually, but he only has 169 points, so I'm sure for outfield, given there's how many good outfielders, that's probably already not very good.
Yeah.
But this is a guy that started the year so hot. Like this was I wish I had the stats written down, but he had a ridiculous amount of home runs in April and May. Like this dude was absolutely killing it. Was ahead of a lot of big names in fantasy points to start the year. Still has a solid stat line. Don't get me wrong. 296 batting average, 12 home runs, 34 RBIs. That's not bad. But in his last 30 games, he's only batting 239, 3 home runs with 11 RBIs with a 290 K rate. It's almost
290.
Yeah, so almost 1 out of 3 at bats he's striking out, which is. Obviously, if you play fantasy baseball, you know a strikeout is -1 point. So you want guys that don't strike out.
This is not like the real MLB. You don't want those big strikeout guys because you're losing points.
Yeah, like your
like Judge and Stanton and guys like that. Even though Judge is having an amazing
I was thinking
season, he's obviously good in fantasy. It's not as good as some other outfielders that because he strikes out so much.
Right. And to another thing about Taylor Ward, this is the most home runs, RBIs, best batting average, and most games played already. That's all number 1 for him in his career. And we're at the halfway point of the season. So I just don't like that. That doesn't bode well to me. And again, the Angels, team that's very underperforming thus far. So who knows if they'll be able to turn it around.
They're ridiculous. You can't have 2 of the top 5 players in the flipping league and be so bad. And in LA, you're in a huge market. You got Trout and Ohtani and your ass. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? Like,
It's
Angels blow
ridiculous.
my mind sometimes
It's
how
honestly
awful they
ridiculous.
are. All right, nice little fantasy game we played there. It was nice getting our little fantasy talk. As football comes more, obviously we'll have a lot of pre-football season fantasy talk coming up here in the next bit. So, and maybe even some more as we get towards playoff fantasy baseball for pickups and such like that. But yeah, it was good. And now it's time for me to get my trivia crown on.
Trivia! Man, I am in.
On.
Here's the standings right now. Man, y'all can see Spinny's starting to pull away from me a little bit. This is not good. Also, we maybe need to never let Forbrook come in here again, considering he's 2-0.
No, Forbrook's coming back and taking his L.
I know. I'm just kidding. No more UFC questions for Forbrook though.
This is like the third fight of the trilogy, and we haven't won any yet. This is Tito and Liddell 3, where Tito comes in and at least gets his little revenge back. But all right.
Who's asking first? I'll let you pick.
Ooh.
I honestly don't even remember who won the most recent game of just me and you.
Yeah, because we got dominated so much lately.
Well, I lost. I was last week.
True. So I'll ask first. Who was the oldest pitcher to throw a no-hitter in MLB history?
This is an easy question, huh?
Yeah.
Nolan Ryan? Final answer?
Correct. Nolan Ryan.
Clutch. I did have like a brief moment where I was second guessing myself, thinking it was someone from our lifetime.
Nope. Probably the most famous, amazing old pitcher.
Right. And he also leads the MLB for career no-hitters, so that's why it's the first thing that came to my mind. Your easy question. Minnesota's professional hockey team before the Wild. What is their name?
Stars. Final answer.
Correct.
Come on. Jeez.
I honestly, I have no idea about your history of hockey, so I would have hoped you knew what the North Stars were, but just had to try.
All right, medium question. Who was the first male tennis player to win Grand Slam singles on grass, clay, and hard court? First one to win a Grand Slam at all three.
Talking just males, right?
Yeah, first male to win a Grand Slam singles on grass, clay, and hard court.
Let's go Pete Sampras.
Final?
Yeah. Who was it?
I'll give you 1 point if you get it now still.
Is it one of the three?
No.
No way. Yeah. So, God, who is the other dude? I'm drawing a blank. Just tell me.
Andre Agassi.
Andre? Yeah, I wouldn't have said him.
Sampras and Agassi.
He was the first one, huh?
Yeah, Agassi first one.
Wow.
I was late too. That's why I put it in here because I was like surprised how late it was.
Yeah, when was it? Like, what was the year?
I didn't have a year, but Agassi.
Oh yeah, I suppose they were different years that he won them.
Yeah. Agassi didn't play until like I want to say late 70s, early 80s at the earliest. So it was at least sooner than I thought it would be.
All right, your medium question. Who is this player? This player is the active career leader in completion percentage, is second in career QBR, and first in career yards per attempt. Who is this quarterback? I can say him again.
Yeah, one more time.
He is the active career leader in completion percentage. He is, out of active quarterbacks, second in career QBR, and he's first in yards per attempt.
Is it obvious or not?
I don't know. This is tough.
He's second in QBR. And what was the third stat? QBR, yards per attempt, and what? Completion percentage.
Yeah. First in completion percentage and yards and per attempt. Second in QBR.
Russell Wilson, final answer.
And
Is it Aaron Rodgers?
Deshaun Watson.
Okay.
Is actually who it is, believe it or not.
That's tough.
That is tough. You're not going to get my hard question. I'm kind of scared we're going to tie here because knowing me, I'm not getting a hard question either.
You might.
All right.
Who was the 42-1 underdog who knocked out Mike Tyson?
Oh, man.
This is a gettable hard question.
Oh, man. Mike Tyson, huh?
Yep.
God, I should know this, I feel like.
42-1, knocked him out.
42-1. That's actually kind of
nuts.
Impressive. I don't know if I'm going to be able to have a freaking answer. I'm not going to lie. Just because, like, the main guys I can think of, there's just, like, I feel like there's no way that
His first name is the same name as a character on Arthur. That's my hint.
As a character on Arthur?
Yep.
Wow. Because I've seen that recently.
Exactly. But you've seen it. We've all seen it. All us Gen Z millennial tweens have all seen Arthur.
Oh, wait. You might have messed up. You might have messed up big time. Especially if I ask you this question and you answer it, which you might not. Does he have the same name as a catcher who used to play for the San Francisco Giants? First name? Posey's first name?
Oh.
Is it Buster Douglas?
It is Buster Douglas.
Let's go. You should not have said the Arthur hint. Oh my God. Buster's the only guy I thought of, so I wanted to confirm it with the Posey question, the Buster Posey, but that is huge. So I'm gonna win because you're not getting mine. There's no way you get mine.
Here's the thing. I felt like my hint was old enough and off the cuff enough that it wasn't.
That was a good hint, I thought.
Yeah. It wasn't too obvious.
I still had to think about it.
Yeah, agreed.
Wow. All right, Spinny, you got it. Let's see what you got here. By the way, there is like a bonus point I want to say here too. So you do have
I could beat you still.
You do have the potential to win, but you're not gonna get it. So, how do I want to word this? First player to shatter a backboard in the NBA. Hint: not in our lifetime. Like the shattering of the backboard did not happen in our lifetime.
Oh, did he play for the team in Minnesota?
This guy played for your C's. That's even another hint I'm giving you. Not in our lifetime, and played for your C's at the time it happened, at least.
Ooh.
So this, okay,
it happened.
I need to say it like this.
Okay.
This guy, the first person to shatter a backboard, didn't do it on a dunk. Okay? He didn't. So that's the question. You got to get him. But I will give you bonus points if you get the first guy to shatter backboard on a dunk.
Is that in our lifetime?
No. Not Shaq. It's not
Yeah,
Shaq. I
Shaq's what
know
I
that's your
thought of.
first thought.
Yeah. Okay. On the
Just the guy,
C's.
you've definitely heard of the guy who first did it with a dunk, though. You've definitely heard of him. I don't know about the other dude, but we'll see.
All right. Um. Mm, so not a dunk. So that makes me think it wasn't a heavy guy. Maybe it was a guard. Hmm. Played for the C's. Man, I'm never gonna get this. You said at the time. All right, I'm gonna go Bill Walton, and then for first guy to do it on a dunk, we'll go with
In the 70s, it happened.
Dr. J.
Both incorrect. Good guesses, though. Those are good attempts. Chuck Connors. You heard of Chuck Connors?
Nope.
Yeah, I figured not.
How
Chuck
did he
Connors.
do it?
Story's pretty dumb, but so Chuck Connors, an arena worker, failed to put a protective piece between the rim and the backboard. So during warm-ups, he shot a ball and it hit the front of the rim and it like went in like perfectly because he hit the front of the rim and it just shattered the whole backboard. Yeah.
Sheesh. Okay.
And then first person to do it on a dunk, like legit your OG rim shatter, is Daryl Dawkins.
Mm.
You heard of
Okay.
Daryl Dawkins, haven't you?
I have heard of Daryl Dawkins. I don't think I would have got Daryl Dawkins, but
you were I liked your Dr. J guess because he did it while he was playing on the Sixers.
Yeah.
Daryl Dawkins. So.
All right.
And I'm the winner. Finally, I'm on the board once again.
Back on the board. Buster Douglas.
Oh my gosh.
Shout out to the rabbit from Arthur for the hit.
Spinny, we're gonna introduce our new thing at the end of the episode this week, or are we just gonna put on hold?
You can take it. We're gonna add a nice little minute for the winner at the end. Mini for the Winnie, as I'm gonna call it now. Mini for the Winnie at the end for the winner of trivia. If it's our guest, we'll give that to them right after trivia if they want it. We'll give them it right after trivia if they want it. If they don't want it, they don't have to take it. All it is 1 minute to talk about whatever you want. Sports, doesn't have to be sports. Soapbox for the week. Guy that cut you off in traffic. I don't care. But you got a reward for trivia. So the reward for trivia is you get a minute to talk to our audience about whatever you want. So, Mini to Winnie.
Mini to Winnie. Wow.
Yeah. Mini to Winnie after, obviously, Minnie and Winnie. So, Mini to Winnie.
I love it. Well, Spinny, we might as well just jump into our last segment here. Dude, I got to pee like crazy. This is unreal.
Bus is going to stop our episode to go to
No, I'm not going to stop it. I'm going to hold it in. Unless you want to take the crown for one. You want to take a minute to talk to the fans.
Oh, okay. Bus is
even though you lost.
To the fans. All right, I'll take it from you since you can't.
Are you actually?
Yeah.
Wow. Sorry, listeners. Listen to Spinny talk about whatever he's going to talk about for a minute.
Goodbye. All right, y'all. What should I talk about? I'm just going to talk about my inner monologue with myself and how I think about things. No, just kidding. I want to talk about Kevin Durant. I'm going to keep it on sports. I just wanted to push against a little bit the narrative that's going on right now with him and Twitter and just the shot at media members and the idea of he just wants to hoop. I get that. I know a ton of guys like that. I respect it. It's an awesome way to be. But at the same time, when you are making millions of dollars, every job has a drawback. The NBA is their job. The drawback for some people of the NBA, of his job, is the media attention. The always having to be a role model thing, the always like, getting talked about thing, legacy. He's making fun of, writers, telling them, asking them to say what they're doing that day and then making fun of it as legacy. But everyone leaves a legacy. Our lives are our legacy. What are statues in front of Yankee Stadium and not just sports, but everywhere. Rome with Caesar and statues and people. And, that is what history is, And on a smaller level, sports is the same way. So when you're making, a career earnings of $500 million and people love you and talk about you, and that's how you get to that point, you have to deal with the other things that are on top of just hooping. That's a little bit of my thing for KD. I love it and respect it because I'm kind of that type of way. I would be that type of way as like a star too. It's like I don't want to do with the media, or I want to just do my own thing and be my own person. But part of the drawback to being famous is you can't do that. Sorry, it's tough. It's not awesome, but it's facts. So it gets a little irritating to me and repetitive when he's on this train. It doesn't really, at least in my view, understand the nuances of the situation. All right.
I like those thoughts.
There's my Winnie to Winnie. Well, Bus was gone. Bus didn't even hear any of it.
No, I heard it all.
No, he caught it at the end, but all right. So now let's get into
I literally heard the whole thing because I just muted my mic and went in there with my headphones on, so I could keep listening to you.
Okay. So you weren't capping me. I appreciate that. I appreciate the heartfelt encouragement instead of the fake encouragement.
Come on now.
All right. Well, NFL peeps. We're gonna talk about some fun shit. What are we talking about, Bus?
We're gonna talk about the top players at each position heading into next year. So as it stands right now, we're talking real life here. Yep. We're not talking fantasy. There's nothing to do with fantasy. We're just how we think they rank going into this upcoming season. We're even gonna do coaches as well. So for tight ends, coaches, we're just gonna do top 5, and for quarterbacks, receivers, and running backs, we'll do a top 10. So I think we're going to start low, right? We're starting and working way up to number 1, right?
Yep.
Keep them hanging a little bit. 5th tight end. We'll start tight ends. I got Darren Waller for the Raiders. I think he fell off a little bit after his bad year last year and dealt with a lot of injuries as well. So
yeah, a little injury year last year. I also had Waller. Obviously had a down receiving season, but given the Adams acquisition for them, he could very easily climb up my list this year, given he's going to have a lot more openings, given he's got Renfro after another year and Adams. So
it's true. It's facts. 4th best tight end in the league. I'm sure we're in agreement here again. Kyle Pitts, monster rookie year, 1,000 yards as a rookie, which is insane. It's insane for any tight end to have 1,000 yards. So, yeah, Kyle Pitt, he had to be in the top 5 for me.
Yeah, safest pick of the draft, I think, and one of the like Quentin Nelson type picks that we've had in the draft in the last few years, where you just knew Pitts was going to be good. I mean, at least I think most people did, and he proved it even in a crappy situation. Obviously, he might have Marcus Mariota throwing him the ball this year, so we'll see how his production goes. But even last year with an aging Matt Ryan, it was pretty good. 3. This is where I think we're going to differ a little bit. I have Mark Andrews as my 3rd best tight end.
And I have George Kittle as my 3rd best tight end.
Yeah, so I think we flip-flop 2-3, Kittle and Andrews. I like Kittle's blocking situations going. Obviously, Andrews led the league for tight ends and receiving last year at over 1,300 yards. So I can take arguments for him as well. And obviously that was with only Lamar playing about half the games. So really good season last year for Andrews. I like Kittle's history a little bit better. And I also value his importance in the San Francisco offense. And I think he can do some things that even Kelsey can't do as far as blocking and impacting the game that way. So that gave him the slight edge for me over Mark Andrews.
Yeah, I mean, these are clearly the top 3 guys. Obviously, everyone knows who we have at number 1, being Travis Kelce. We don't even need to talk about Kelce. His stats.
6 straight 1,000-yard seasons.
So he's clearly the best tight end in the league. Yeah, I just put Mark Andrews. I just can't. I don't like Kittle's injury history, and I think it's going to continue to be a thing. So after that absolute monster year that Andrews put up, I was ready to slide him up a little bit. But yeah, I think you're right by saying that he probably has a better history. So it wouldn't surprise me if Kittle, stayed healthy and turned it around. So
Agreed.
hopefully he stays healthy because when he's on the field, he's a freak for sure. So yeah, those are our top five tight ends going into the league. Probably, I'm sure, not really any surprises. That I feel like that's an obvious top five list. At least Spinny and I definitely thought that when we were creating these together. And
Yep.
the one guy I did want to shout out as a guy that could sneak in the top five here potentially this year would for me it'd be TJ Hawkinson. He's had some good years so far to start his career, still young, added more weapons to the offense, which should help him, get open more because they have to now. Amon-Ra St. Brown is the real deal. They drafted Jameson Williams. You don't think so? I like Amon-Ra a lot.
Real-ish deal.
I think
Depends
he's
on what
stuck.
real is, but number one, I don't know.
I don't know if he can be a one, but I think he's a very good two in this league. And I mean, he was a rookie last year. He did all that stuff as a
True.
rookie. So
True.
I like TJ Hawkinson maybe sneaking in that top five this year.
I'm going a little off and going on the based on the Cooper trade and the amount of weapons in Dallas. And I think Dalton Schultz might be the guy that could take the step up this year. Might have an increased role. Obviously, had a bunch of catches last year, so we'll see.
I really like that. That was the other guy I was thinking about as well. Well, let's jump to running backs now, right?
Yes, sir.
10th. Coming in at 10th for me, I got Austin Eckler. This might be a little low for some people, and I frankly just don't really care. I like his production, especially in terms of fantasy, but I don't think he's better than these other guys that I'm saying, and I'm just going to leave it at that. I think he's got a limited ceiling because the Chargers are refusing to give him the workload. That's why I yet again drafted another running back. Like they always draft guys because they want to find another two and split carries with Austin Eckler. So that's going to limit his upside. But he's obviously a very quality guy. So he deserves to be slid into this top 10. I got him at 10.
Agreed. I went here with number 10, Antonio Gibson. This was kind of a hard one for me. I had Zeke here I was thinking about, but Gibson had over 1,000 yards this year, kind of a bell cow back there for Washington. And if the improvement in Washington is a little bit like I think it's going to be, he could maybe have some increased running room going on there. So, Antonio Gibson.
Coming in at 9 for me, I have Zeke. I know a lot of people, or at least a lot of our friends, are probably just pissed that I have him in my top 10, but I can't. We're talking about right now today, heading into the season. I can't remove him from the top 10. He's had 1,000+ yards and 10 touchdowns literally every year. So what more do you want him to do? But I will mention that this is a year that I think he could fall out of the top 10. Pollard's obviously coming on, and you never know with Zeke. He's definitely starting to slow down. You saw it last year. But, yeah, just as of now, I had to still throw him in the top 10. Given what he's been able to do, even last year with struggling with a knee injury all year, and how shitty he looked, he still threw out 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. So I just couldn't slide him out yet. But wouldn't surprise me if he was not in the top 10 by the end of next year.
Yeah, we'll see. I think Zeke's on the downturn too much. My number 9 is Austin Eckler, who you had at 10. Obviously brings a lot in the passing game. I was concerned about his injury history, but I think as Herbert continues to improve and the Chargers offense also does, he's got at least 2 high production years left.
Facts.
Number 8.
Who do you got?
Joe Mixon. I got
Okay.
Bengals running back here. Obviously, he's a big lead for their offense, but sometimes I think he kind of underperforms what you would expect.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure we flipped our 7 and 8s here. My 8 is Najee Harris.
My 7 is Najee Harris. So
my guy, obviously from Bama. He's one of my boys. I love Najee Harris. The only reason why I just couldn't throw him higher up the list than 8 is just because we've only seen 1 year out of him. I don't really know. You just don't know too much. But he showed he's a legit dude in his one season last year. So this is the only reason why he's not higher on my list is that he's only played 1 year.
So I have Mixon 8, Harris 7. You have Harris 8, Mixon 7.
Correct. And Mixon, I just think I like his production these last couple of years, especially when he's healthy. he produces. And now that they've had a decent line, like he produced last year, and I bet he's going to be even better this year because they've upgraded their line even more. So
Yeah. Okay. Six. I have Nick Chubb. I think this is a low for a lot of people. A lot of people have him in their top three. Not a Chubb guy. He has some production, but I feel like you need a complimentary back like Hunt for him. Otherwise, he can't. I don't know. I just have some
I agree.
limitation concerns and obviously injury concerns. All these running backs have injury concerns, so it's just kind of what the position is. Most of them have injury concerns. So, but yeah, I think Chubb's upside is maybe a little lower than the next top five.
Yeah, I have Chubb as well at 6, and yeah, I completely agree with you there. He's just a little too one dimensional for me as compared to the guys I have in the top 5. He, not really doesn't really catch passes at all. So yeah, I completely agree with you that he needs to have a complimentary back next to him. So that's why it limited him a little bit.
I like
Going
it.
into our top 5, I believe the majority of it's going to be the same. Maybe flip to top 2. 5th, I have Alvin Kamara. Is that what
Yep.
do you got?
I
You got
have
Alvin Kamara
Kamara
at 5?
yes, I think we're gonna. So we should just reveal 5, 4, and 3 here.
Yeah,
So
I think those are the same.
I think we both go Kamara at 5, McCaffrey at 4, and Dalvin Cook at 3.
Correct.
Awesome.
I have that as well.
These are.
You can explain your thoughts first.
I just think these are all 3 in the same level of running back. Obviously,
Yeah.
McCaffrey has maybe a slightly higher upside when he's healthy, but slightly more injury concerns. Kamara obviously has had this offseason situation, so I'm not sure exactly what's going to come of that for him. But all 3 of these guys are in the same category. McCaffrey's got both amazing at running and receiving. Kamara's a little more receiver heavy, but also is a good rusher, and Cook is more rushing heavy, also a good receiver. So I think they're kind of all in the same category and kind of all on the same level. These top 5, and maybe including Chubb, are really the 5 to 6 running backs that'd be okay with paying that make it that much of an impact on your team. So I think these 3 guys especially are when you start to get into that category that you might actually have to pay them as a running back.
I like that. I completely agree there that those would probably be the only guys that I'd give the bag to because they're truly game changers when they're on the field for sure.
Especially to the point that we're at now. Najee could get there as well, I believe. But outside these top 5 guys and Najee maybe in 2-3 years, I don't know if there's a guy in the league like that right now.
We'll jump into our 1 and 2. I'm probably just a little premature with mine, but I just had to send it, and I got Derrick Henry now, second best running back in the league, with Jonathan Taylor being the best. Again, this might be a little premature for some people, one being you, but I just can't ignore what he did last year. He goes up against the best 3 rush defenses essentially 3 weeks in a row and just cooks them all. He faced he had 200 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Patriots.
Yeah.
And then the next week just destroyed the Bills. Good rush defense. Like, it was every week. No one could stop this dude. And especially last year I know you're a Wentz defender, but I don't like Wentz. So I feel like this man had the box stacked all the time last year. And he was still getting it done with ridiculous numbers and ridiculous games. So I was ready to make the jump. And I don't know. It's tough because Derrick Henry's obviously a god. So I don't know. What are your thoughts about the 1 and 2 here?
I get the point with Taylor. 2 years ago, Henry essentially led the Titans to the AFC Championship by himself as far as like offensive impact, him and AJ Brown. They overcame their quarterback talent to make it to the AFC Championship game. That's impressive to me. Also, last year then, he had 130 or 140 more yards than Taylor when he got hurt. He had 937 yards through 8 games before he got hurt last year. Absolutely crazy for Henry. Obviously, I think as Henry ages, this might be his last or second to last year as the top guy on this list. Taylor, I'm confident after this year, it'll probably be Taylor's the top back. But I got to give it to Henry still. I think that if he's healthy, he's the most unstoppable running back for sure. No discredit to Taylor. We're talking about the top 2 guys in the league. No discredit to either of these guys.
Right. Absolutely. The one guy I do think that could jump in the top 10 would not shock me whatsoever if he does would be Javonte Williams. That's the one guy I want to shout out. I think second year here, he's going to take another step forward. Got Russell Wilson on his team. Yes, they re-signed Melvin Gordon, but I think they're going to make the flip here. They started to do it towards the end of the year where they were giving Javonte the ball more. So, and the dude is a freak. I love Javonte Williams. I am very, very high on him. So he'd be my one guy I think can crack top 10.
A guy I think I could crack the top 10 is kind of an obvious one, I feel like. And this is just if this guy can ever come back to be close to what he was after the injury, and that's Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley's still a young guy yet. Obviously, he's had a horrible injury history here, but I think he could still make a comeback and be in this top 10 if he can figure himself out post-injury.
Yeah, definitely. Saquon could definitely jump back up. There's still time for the boy. Let's go to
a little bit of time.
Yeah, a little bit of time.
Receivers it up.
Let's let's do 10 through 8. I don't know who you put at 10, but I'm pretty sure 8 and 9s are maybe not the same, but at least flip-flopped, I feel like. 10 I have DK Metcalf, 9 I have Mike Evans, and 8 I have Deebo Samuel.
I have Keenan Allen at 10, Deebo Samuel at 9, and Mike Evans at 8.
Okay. So I just thought last year Mike Evans was obviously still very good. Like he's a stud. But I thought Deebo Samuel was a little better than him. I know he doesn't want to rush anymore, but I did like his dual threat option there. But yeah, just the 1,400 yards. Was he second, first, or something like that in receiving yards last year? Third. Wait, didn't he have? Oh, this is sorted by catches. That would make sense. Yards, he had to have third, I think. No, he was fifth, but whatever. That's more than Mike Evans, which is why I put him ahead of there. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on Keenan Allen. I know he's been doing it year in and year out. I just think a super athletic guy like DK Metcalf, just eye test might be a little better.
No, I feel that. Keenan Allen's catch rate is and safety net ability for Josh Allen. Justin Herbert, obviously huge, more of a possession receiver, obviously. This one was really hard for me. I felt like this could have been A.J. Brown. I felt like this could have been CeeDee Lamb. I felt like this could have been multiple guys, Terry McLaurin. I feel like all those guys are kind of right in there for this number. I went with Allen given history of production, but I feel like all those guys could be in that 10 spot.
You have any thoughts on Deebo and Mike? Why'd you put Mike ahead of Deebo?
Because I'm not sure where Deebo's at with usage in the offense, what he's going to be. Is he going to get paid? Is he going to get traded? I just like Mike Evans' consistency, and I know what I'm going to get from him and Brady, and I know what I'm going to get from him, period. So I just like that consistency a little bit over the sketchiness and unknown that's going on in San Francisco. That's why I went Evans over Deebo.
All right, that's fair enough. Let's do 7-6-5 now. I got at 7 Jamar Chase. Again, he's a little lower, just like Najee Harris, just because he's only played 1 year. I want to see him do it again, and he can for sure jump to the top 5. The dude was an absolute monster last year. So I'm not taking anything away from his season. It's just more of the fact that I don't necessarily know if he's surpassed these other guys that have done it so many years already in a row. 6 is DeAndre Hopkins. I didn't know if I could throw him much lower than that. He was such an injury-riddled season last year. But we all know what he does when he's on the field. He just catches everything thrown to him. The dude is a monster. So I didn't feel comfortable sliding him any lower than 6th. And then 5th I have is Stephon Diggs, who I think he is definitely deserving of the top 5. He's been doing this for, 4 or 5 years now. So the dude is a stud, great route runner, and is always around that 100 catches, 1,000 yards range. So Chase, D-Hop, Diggs. Chase, D-Hop, Diggs, 7, 6, and 5. Yep.
My 7 is D-Hop, 6 is Diggs, and 5 is Tyreek Hill. 6, 7, 7, 6, 5, Diggs, or D-Hop, Diggs, Hill. D-Hop, again, the injury, I brought him down a bit, but he's obviously a walking jump ball catcher and obviously insane. He's also getting older, so you never know, and he's not the fastest as it is. So as those receivers get older, it's kind of sketchy on what their production ends up being. Diggs, obviously an amazing place, amazing route runner. I love Stephon Diggs. I don't know if the high-end top best receiver in the league potential's there, but he's a top 10 guy all day, every day. And Tyreek Hill, I moved him down one spot given his situation, and I don't know how he's going to fare with a guy that's not Patrick Mahomes. We've never seen it. But obviously his production that he's put up and his unbelievable speed is still there. So amazing receivers, all those guys.
Let's just do all the top 4 now, because for sure 3 of them are the same. And so you obviously have Jamar Chase at 4 then, right?
I do.
And then I have Tyreek Hill at 4. For those essentially what you said, he's just a freak. He's a speed threat. I'm just wasn't comfortable dropping him down. I understand the not playing with Pat Mahomes thing anymore, but I was just thinking in terms of strictly his skills and comparing them to these other people. I just wasn't comfortable putting Diggs, Hopkins, or Chase ahead of him yet, but I completely think that Jamar Chase can do that. So I'm not mad at your rankings. I think they're pretty good, but to me it was a little early for me, and that's why I have Tyreek Hill at 4. And then the top 3, I'm sure it's exactly the same as yours, which would be Jefferson is my 3rd, Kupp is my 2nd, and number 1 receiver in the league right now is Devontae Adams.
Yep. Those 3 are the same. I feel like Jefferson's production speaks for itself. Most receiving yards in the first 2 seasons in a defensive coach's offense, and now we'll get him Kevin O'Connell and see it's going to be nuts. Kupp obviously won the Triple Crown last year. He was never quite at this level of receiver really before this, so it was kind of like insane. But obviously you got to give him credit for that. And Adams is the most unguardable as far as speed, jumping, route running, everything together. Absolutely incredible. I really want to focus on Chase, though, because the reason I put him up over those guys is I think he's potential. I think he's going to do the same thing as Jefferson, take another step this year. His offense is exactly the same. Burrow's a god. They're both young. Everyone's growing on that team. I just feel like maybe he's not quite there right now, but I put him up a little higher just based on what I think he's going to do this season production-wise.
Yeah, that's completely fair. I mean, he was 4th last year as a rookie in yards. So, yeah, I agree with you. He's going to take another step forward, just like Jefferson did, former LSU teammates. I completely expect that to happen. And yeah, I guess the other thing I want to point out before I jump to quarterbacks is that I just couldn't ignore that monster season Kupp had last year. I do probably think that Jefferson is better, but in terms of these rankings, I had to give Kupp his respect and put him at 2 because just ridiculous season last year. So he has to get that respect, 100%.
Great.
My one guy that I do expect to slide into that top 10 this year would be CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, I had a lot of guys. Brown, I think, is going to improve this year given his location if Hurts can be a thrower. And CeeDee Lamb also was another guy I had. So there's wide receivers 9 through 17 are all very close.
Completely agree. Now, quarterbacks. Whew.
Should we start at the top with the quarterbacks?
Yeah, we can start at the top.
Just roll it all out for everybody. I kind of like
start
it.
at the top, absolutely. Even though I'm sure we have the same one, Pat Mahomes.
Pat Mahomes is 1, correct.
Pat Mahomes is 1.
Pat Mahomes will be the best quarterback in the league until I'm proven otherwise. His production and winning has gotten to that point where it's like until someone outplays him and beats him in the playoffs, then I will give it to him.
Facts.
2.
Completely agree. He's just like Kelsey. We don't even need to say anything. Everyone knows they're the best.
Yep.
2, I have Josh Allen at 2.
Damn, I can respect that. I I switched it up, and I have Tom Brady at 2. I think
All right,
he
that's
led
fair.
the league in yards and touchdowns last year. I think maybe there might have been a little down step, but when you lead the league in yards and touchdowns, you're the second newest Super Bowl champion quarterback, and you are Tom Brady. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt, and his production has spoke for itself. So I think it's still Tom.
That's completely fair. I have going into 3. I have Tom Brady at 3. He's just exactly what you said. He still a dog last year. I mean, first in yards and touchdowns. That's insane for a guy of his age. So I probably, I probably should have put him at 2. But I'm ready for that jump that Josh Allen. He showed me last year in that playoff game against Pat Mahomes that the dude is legit. So, I mean,
And
he had like 5 touchdowns or something dumb, and then lost the game because Mahomes is still just too good.
yeah, I have Allen at 3. I think we're slipping on the guy. Most people are going to roast us, but there is reasoning. I got a lot of reasoning for my pick at 4. But I think Allen is the only quarterback in the AFC that the Chiefs are really, really scared of, because Allen's top end is 450 yards and 100 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. It's crazy. His athleticism is crazy for his size. He's hurdling bar and running away from DNs and chucking it 75 yards. It's just absolute. Josh Allen will get a lot of future busts in the league drafted, because coming in, he might have been one of the biggest projects ever, completed under 50% of his passes in college, went to Wyoming, absolutely crazy. But his upside, he's fulfilled all his upside, and it's absolutely insane. Also, Allen, I feel like is perfect in Buffalo. Like Allen in Buffalo, I feel like is like it's the absolute pairing of the goats. So
I agree.
All right, what do you have at 4?
4, 5. I got Rodgers 4, Herbert 5.
I have Rodgers 4 and Burrow 5.
Okay.
I think the big diss we're going to get is having Rodgers as low at 4. But here's the thing.
I don't even care.
How long do you have to underperform and lose to worse teams in the playoffs for me to think it's a pattern? I have no confidence that Rodgers is going to go in and win in the playoffs. And isn't that what these lists are about? Who do we think is going to drive you down and win you games in the playoffs? I mean, Rodgers scored 3 points in the second half against the Niners. 3. He lost to a team that didn't score an offensive touchdown.
Literally.
I'm sorry, but when you are on that level, and this has been constant, losing to teams worse than him. It's like he gave it up against Tampa. His stats look good. He had a great first half, but his second half is meh. And he looks like he's scared to throw interceptions or like ruin stats, quote unquote, or some dumb crap in the playoffs. And I can't. He is the most prettiest thrower in the league, I think. I think he's been the best quarterback in the league the last 2 regular seasons. He has. He's been the best. But when you go to the playoffs and you can't beat teams worse than you at home, I drop you back. Allen, and the argument's going to be, well, Josh Allen doesn't have playoff production either. Right. But Josh Allen has the eye test playoff production. Yes, he lost to Kansas City last year, but he would have beat any other team on any other day other than Kansas City that day. He's not losing to Jimmy Garoppolo at home in the divisional round. I'm sorry. That's not happening. So it's been too long. Rodgers hasn't been in a Super Bowl since 2011. Been in one. Like, that's the other thing. Like, people
11 years.
Yes, people love comparing like Rodgers going to NFC Championship games and blah 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 blah. And well, you're discounting him because he makes the playoffs and loses. It's like, if he was going to the Super Bowl and losing every year, I would have him way higher on this list. It'd be the LeBron thing. where you might not be able to get her done, but you can at least get there. When you haven't got to the Super Bowl in 11 seasons, it's hard to make me think you're relevant. Even when you are as unbelievable of a regular season quarterback like Rodgers.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And I don't mean relevant. I mean relevant as far as this list goes. I still have Rodgers at 4. It's not like I think he's bad. He's obviously amazing.
Right.
But that's why he's not number 1.
No, yeah, I completely agree. Doesn't even deserve, like, I personally see no issue. I will argue against anyone. I don't think we're low on him at all. I think this is right. I totally think this is right. I think those 3 are better than him. I don't know how else to put it. Continuing though, going to 5, you said you had Joe Burrow. So you have Herbert 6, right?
Yeah, I have Herbert 6.
Okay. So I have Herbert 5, Burrow 6. I just think obviously Burrow led them to the Super Bowl, which is ultimately what you want. You want to win. But statistically, Herbert still had a better year. And statistically speaking, through 2 seasons, Herbert has beaten essentially every record.
Yeah, Herbert has every passing record number 1.
He has more touchdowns through 2 years than 2 full seasons than Pat Mahomes even. And everyone was freaking out about Mahomes when he started his career. So I love Justin Herbert. I know you do too. So I'm sure it was tough for you to put Burrow ahead of Herbert. But I think it's pretty clear that these guys are 5 and 6. They're right on the cusp of being the next dudes in this league.
I am a way bigger fan of Herbert than Burrow. I think Herbert's going to be better than Burrow overall. Herbert has like that, I don't know, that scary pocket gunslinger vibe. But the thing is with Burrow is he led a team that was arguably worse than Herbert's team to the Super Bowl, and Herbert hasn't made the playoffs yet. So that's why I gave a little bit of the edge to Burrow, his playoff performances, and the ability to lift his team more than Herbert. So that's why I went slight edge Burrow there.
That's a good point. I like that point.
This is where it's going to get interesting, and
let's
this is
just
why
do
I want
7
to start
to
at
10.
the top of the list. All right, 7 to 10.
7 to 10. Lamar Jackson 7 for me. Matt Stafford 8. Kyler Murray 9. Russell Wilson 10.
Kyler over Russell?
I know. I did it. I know.
All right.
I'm sorry.
All right. I went Stafford 7, Russell 8, Lamar 9, and Derek Carr 10.
So did you not say Kyler?
No Kyler.
You think Derek Carr is better than Kyler Murray?
I do. I do think Derek Carr is better than Kyler Murray.
That is absolutely gross to me. This is atrocious. Atrocious. People, drop your roasting comments of Spinny down below, please, because no way in hell is Derek Carr, as of today, a top 10 quarterback. There's no way.
Derek Carr took the bum Raiders to the playoffs last year when their coach got fired in the super scandal. His best receiver drove 120 miles an hour drunk and killed somebody. And they had an unbelievable amount of drama on their team, and he led them to the playoffs with his best receiver is Hunter Renfrow. Come on. Kyler's got an amazing team and can't do anything in the playoffs. And Carr took the Raiders to the playoffs with one of the craziest, worst situations I've ever seen for a team.
Okay, you're very exaggerating it. Amazing team? No. Brutal defense. And injuries up the wazoo for the Cardinals. John Hopkins barely even played.
The Cardinals' offense is better than the Raiders' offense last year. Also, I'm giving a big knock on Kyler because of how bad they are at the end of the seasons. They start off great, they get hot, and then they get worse. And when you get worse as the season goes on as a quarterback, I'm going to dog you a little bit. And obviously his playoff game performance was horrible. But yeah, I just Kyler's prettier. Kyler's better runner. He's got more highlights, but I don't think he leads to more wins than Derek Carr does. I think Derek Carr leads to more wins than Kyler Murray.
I don't know. I'm not even remotely close to putting him as top 10 quarterback. I just can't see it. I can't see it. He's not, other than passing yards, he's not top 10 in any passing stat. He's not top 10 in completion percentage. Looking at it right now, not top 10 in rating. He's not top 10 in touchdowns. This all points to a guy that's not in the top 10. I don't know what else you want me to say. He was behind Carson Wentz in touchdowns last year.
Yeah, because they run the ball in the red zone. That's
He
what the
had
Raiders
only
did.
one more touchdown than Mac frickin' Jones last year.
You mean Pro Bowler Mac Jones?
Come on, Spinny. Rookie
Pro
Mac
Bowl,
Jones, and he almost
Pro Bowl quarterback Mac Jones.
he has essentially
Pro
the
Bowler
same
as a
stat
rookie
line.
Mac Jones.
He has the same stat line essentially as Derek Carr as a rookie. Are you ready to say Mac Jones is a top 10 quarterback?
No,
I don't
but
think
come
you
on.
are.
You gotta watch the games. You can't look at the stats.
Derek
You gotta
Carr is not
watch
top
the
10 quarterback.
games.
Not statistically or eye test. He does not fit the criteria for top 10 quarterback in either regard. There's
Eye test,
no.
I think he does.
No.
And leading your team to wins, I
No.
also think he does.
No. We'll see. This year, I think he has the potential to get in the top 10, given the weapons he has now. And if he doesn't have a top 10 year this year, I'm going to come back and roast you for saying this.
That's fine. When Kyler can consistently lead a team and like affect wins, I will concede to you because Kyler's more talented than Derek Carr. Kyler throws a prettier ball than Derek Carr.
What we're talking about? We're talking about who's better.
To watch than Derek Carr.
We're talking about who's better.
I just think the intangibles and
we're talking about who's better. Are we not?
Flip their situations last year, and the Raiders went 4-12. Kyler Murray.
Now you're just throwing out hypotheticals.
I'm not. That's how.
You're throwing out hypotheticals that literally can't be backed by anything.
Kyler,
in your opinion, they would go 4-12. There's no statistical or there's nothing you can prove that statement with. That's a hypothetical.
There's nothing I can prove any of this with, but let's dig down a little more here.
I mean, we have the same other three guys. We just have.
I
have Russ at 10, though. I guess you were kind of surprised at that.
I was. I think there's a lot of Russ hate going around, though, and I think he's gonna prove some people wrong this year. I honestly do. I think
I'm not
there's been too much Russ hate going on. Mr. Unlimited. Too much hate on Mr. Unlimited.
I'm not hating on this man. I love Russell Wilson. I think he could definitely turn it around. I mean, he's got the weapons and the team to do it now for sure. But his season last year was brutal. When he played, he was terrible. He couldn't even.
Yeah, he was.
The games, like he was hurt, obviously.
He came back 3 games early and had a broken
Right, I understand the situation. I get the situation. He was terrible last year, so that's why he dropped for me. And I'm sure he'll climb right back up as expected. So I'm not even worried about Russell Wilson. I have full confidence in him turning this around. I do agree with you that there's way too much Russ Wilson hate going around. Way too much.
Honorable mentions, guys. The next that could be.
Yeah, what do you got?
Year. I had Murray and Dak. I think
I like those. I like Dak.
Are younger guys that could step into it. And if Murray can get the leadership thing figured out and the running a team and the being efficient thing figured out, he's gonna be nuts.
Yeah, I like I didn't write him down as mine, but I do like Derek Carr. I think now with Devontae on his team, he could definitely jump in the top 10. And the other guy wrote down, this is gonna be dependent if he plays. Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I really just left him off my list because I didn't want to talk about him.
Right. I'm not going to talk about him.
Little airtime as possible. But yeah, I mean, obviously they had a poll of NFL execs come out this last week, and Watson was 8 in their rankings, and they didn't even have Lamar in the top 10. So pretty interesting. Obviously, Deshaun has that level of talent, but who knows if he's going to play. All right.
Just to wrap this up, we're just going to briefly talk our top 5 coaches. I probably honestly won't even give you much of a reason. It's a pretty obvious list once you hear these names. My ranking, though, would be Bill Belichick's number 1 still for me. I got Andy Reid 2, John Harbaugh 3, Mike Tomlin 4, and I couldn't just choose one, so I tied Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay at 5.
All right.
That would be my 6 of my top 5.
Bill, I think he's shown a little bit of what he lacks on offense, so I went Reid first, then Bill, then McVay, then Shanahan, and then I did a Harbaugh and Tomlin 5-6. I feel like these 6 are the guys, the real top ones. So we kind of did a top 6, but it's hard to leave off these guys. Harbaugh, good constant production. Tomlin is looking amazing right now. The way he kept that madhouse together, that was Bell and Roethlisberger and Brown. Absolutely,
he's such a stud, actually, Mike Tomlin.
Like, basically for 6 years, Antonio Brown had 100 catches and 1,300 yards, and we didn't even know he was crazy because Tomlin's that good of a culture coach, and he hasn't ever been under 500 his entire time there. So literally, absolutely insane. Thanks for Tomlin. Couldn't leave him off.
Shanahan, McVay, just insane offensive minds. I think the reason why I had McVay at 5, obviously just won the Super Bowl, but I think, the Rams were just freaking loaded. So I'd like to see more of what he can do on the coaching end with maybe a less talented roster. I know that's not his fault.
Oh, you mean like taking Jared Goff to the Super Bowl? That's what you mean, or? Oh, he did that already. Oh, that's right. Oh, I forgot.
I don't know. Okay, well, John Harbaugh brought Joe Flacco.
So okay, in 2010.
I don't know. I just personally, I don't care. I personally don't think, even today, that I don't think McVay is a better coach than Tomlin or Harbaugh. I'd rather have both of those two than McVay.
What?
Yes, 100%.
Oh,
that's not even
crazy, brother.
That's not it. But these vet coach, Belichick, Harbaugh, Reed, and Tomlin, I'll take all 4 of those over Shanahan and McVay any single day. That's not even I won't even think a second.
If I had to start my team right now, right? Start my team right now. Reed,
right now.
Then McVay, then Shanahan. If I had to start my team right now. Bill's got the legacy thing, and he's obviously an amazing coach. But given today's climate and what the NFL is, I'd take Reed, McVay, and Shanahan if I had to start my team right now.
I don't know. I think you're doubting your GOAT.
I am. He's looking real tough since Tommy left. Looking real tough.
Is he, though? Because he took a team that no one had any faith in, and they made the playoffs. So what do you want him to do?
His offensive coordinators are going to be
what do you want him to do? Tell me.
And Joe Judge?
Tell me. What do you want him
to do? I want him to be better at offense. Their offense is going to be garbage town. You can't win Super Bowls with bad offenses in 2022.
We'll see.
Yeah, we will.
We're talking about right now. We're not talking about what's happening in a couple months, but right now, I don't know.
I think Bill's on the downturn.
Well, obviously, all these vet coaches are starting to get on the downturn, but I'm still taking them over these young bucks because they've proven to me that they can win.
Nope.
Shanahan has not.
Hasn't proven he can win. Shanahan took Jimmy G to the Super Bowl. Get out of, and then the NFC Championship the next season. If Jimmy G is his quarterback, come on,
can't win.
He won Matt Ryan an MVP. Like it's just like quarterback production. Super Bowl with the Falcons with Matt Ryan. Jimmy G to the NFC Championship. Jimmy G.
I'm seeing. I'm just hearing a bunch of L's.
Oh gosh.
I remember the Falcons choking a 28-3 lead in that game.
3 Super Bowls with Matt Ryan or Jimmy G. Come on.
I remember Shanahan being almost the number one reason why they lost that game because his play call in the second half was literally the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. And you know that's true, too, especially in that fourth quarter. They had a freaking field goal, and they didn't do it, and then he gets sacked, and they're out of range, and then they lost because of that. Sick.
You ever think that Matt Ryan could have audibled that play? It's tough.
But we know that's not Matt Ryan. We know he's not on that level.
Yeah, he
that's
is.
When
he was that year. He was that year. Come on.
Whatever, Spinny. Those are our lists.
NFL's going offense. Those are our lists. Hopefully, we're gonna take our graphics and overlay them here for our YouTube people. We're also gonna post them. We need another social media post, so we'll post them up, and you guys can rip us up on them.
Yeah, absolutely. I better get the Q&A question out then.
Yes, sir. Let's get to the Q&A.
Q&A to finish off our episode here of 22.
Q&A.
Connor Forbrook, another Q&A question. He might just be our go-to Q&A. None of you Hardies and Hardos out there
Yeah,
sending us
keep
questions,
up,
you little rats.
peeps. Send us some shit.
Well, shout out Forbes though again. What is your favorite pre-game tradition in any sport?
Personal
He
or
said give one or a few, and then I asked personal or just general sport traditions, and he said he was thinking general, but we could do personal too if we wanted to.
okay. Funny one
Free
that I
free
absolutely love
range.
that's new is Dak's little dance thing. He was doing it at a camp with some camp kids today. It was pretty hilarious. That's one of my favorite pregame things. New ones.
I like kind of branching off that. One of my favorites, jumping into the NBA though, is just like the pregame dances that some players have. Obviously, Russ used to do it a lot. I guess I don't know if he still does, but like the Russ, and I always instantly think about Russ when he was teammates with Campaign, and they were doing that on the Thunder. They were doing that shit every single game. Yeah,
That
I
is
just
so
love
funny.
I love the pregame traditions or rituals, whatever you want to call them, that all the players have in the NBA. That most of them are pretty funny, whether it be a
Yeah.
dance or a handshake.
Obviously, bronze is one of the goats too. That's one that came up right away on my list. Bronze little baby powder toss is obviously one of the goat ones too.
This is probably more along the lines of what Forbrook's thinking about. I feel like for pregame tradition, I'm gonna go tailgating. Tailgating,
Oh,
obviously, uh,
yeah.
I'd say mainly for football and a little baseball. Mainly, obviously, football, but that everyone loves tailgating. It's a great time. Good way to
Tailgating,
start the day before the game.
tailgating Gopher games is one of my favorite things to do these days. Maybe we'll go live from Mike Brown's tailgate this year. I know he listens, so if you're still listening, maybe we'll do hard headed from Mike Brown's tailgate this year.
That'd be impressive. Probably a little drunk too.
Well, duh. Come on. All right. What else am I thinking? What else? Oh, I feel like any consuming of adult beverages is the way to pregame as a fan. Whether that's bar, tailgate, whatever. I feel like you gotta be a little relaxed going into these games. Get you hyped, get you yelling.
One last one I want to say is not only pregame; it's just a throughout the game thing too. It would be Super Bowl. I love the Super Bowl parties. Always get together with a bunch of friends, make a ton of food. Obviously, you always show up for the game and start eating and drinking and having fun. So yeah, Super Bowl parties are that's a tradition that I absolutely love.
All right. I like it.
All right.
That question could go a lot of ways. If you're listening this far, comment on our YouTube and give us your answers for our Q&A this week. We want to reward our people that are actually listening to the end. So let us know that you are and comment on your Q&A answer for episode 22.
Wow.
22. Jeez. And again, maybe we don't say this enough because I hate being this YouTuber or this podcaster, but please subscribe and like us up and comment for us.
Like us up, man.
We really need it. And maybe I should have mentioned this at the beginning of the show, and next time I will. But please subscribe to our YouTube channel, especially. Help promote us if you like us and listen to us. Help get us out to others. So we love you, Hardos and Arties. And,
hey, give me my mini Winnie.
Come on, Winnie to the Winnie. I thought you gave your mini Winnie away to me.
No.
Oh, I just got it, and you get one.
You just got a free minute to do whatever you wanted to talk about. I want my mini.
All right, and
mini to the Winnie, which is me.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Honestly, I'm going to continue with what Spinny was just saying, and that. Oh, I like the mic meeting. That's a good aspect. I'm just going with what Spinny was just saying. Please removes himself from the stream. Please like our stuff. Please comment your thoughts. Please interact with us. Share our stuff. All that. It seriously means so much to us, and it seriously helps us out. It seriously only takes one or 2 seconds to click that like button, 1 or 2 seconds to comment something, get us interacting a little bit. Yeah, anything like that will just help us out in the long run. as we've been saying throughout a number of our episodes, we have goals and aspirations for this podcast. We don't necessarily just want it to be a low end thing with just our friends. So I know it's probably annoying, especially a lot of you that are still listening this far in the episode are probably some of our best friends. So I'm sure it's annoying if you guys constantly have to share and do all that stuff. Seriously, even something as simple as a like on Twitter, or it doesn't need to be a retweet. All that stuff is great. So I guess that's all I had to say in my minute. Spinny is. Oh, put yourself back on.
Yeah. We're back on. All right. I like it for the mini winnie. We'll give you the full screen. So you just, for our YouTube ones, you just got all you. But, all right. Hug your friends. Say I love you to the people that need it. And be nice to people.
I should have done that in the beginning.
I'm feeling 22. Bye.